All right, I'm going to call this meeting to order at 6:32 PM. We are going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so first up, we have amending the agenda. Does anyone need to amend the agenda today? Excellent. Next, we have approved the previous minutes from our July 23rd meeting. We would just need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from July 23rd.
I second.
Excellent. Is there any discussion? Emma, how do you vote?
Aye.
Brian?
Vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All right. Next, we have public comments for items not on the agenda. Yes, Mary?
A resident caught me today while I was out walking, and I'm not sure who owns the property, but on Court Street, across from the library, when you're coming down near the Legion and you go around the common and then you come back out, you have to be really careful coming out onto State Street again, because it's very difficult to see someone coming down State Street from that end. And they said that it seems like there's a lot of vegetation that's just kind of, it doesn't allow you to go around and see around the corner, even though most people, they edge out. But two kids on bicycles came, rearing down the road, and it took them by surprise and scared them, and it's like that could happen to any of us. So I don't know, right on that corner, which end I'm talking about, whether we could cut some, if that's part of the town or if it belongs to like the yellow.
That's right there.
A couple times a year, the highway crew will drive around, and when they see things like that, leave a notice on the door that we're gonna come by and trim this back in 10 days. And so if you do it, that's fine. If not, we're gonna do it. And
Okay,
we are focused on safety, not aesthetics.
Right.
And so sometimes we do it, sometimes not.
right. So if that could be looked into in that one spot, because it
Sure.
is pretty dangerous. And I said, wait, I would bring it up because it is a hard spot.
Okay.
And that's it.
Excellent. So let's see, now under new business, we have a discussion item, the Union Street sewer repair and Route 5 water main repair.
Yeah, if anybody was driving around over the last 10 days or so, they saw a lot of digging holes. The water main may be something that you're not aware of, but up on Route 5 North, kind of in the area of Juniper Hill Road, there was a water main break, and some people had to have a boil water notice because we had to turn the patent water off and fix it. So turned out it was looking like it could be a really big deal. It was less of a big deal. It was only an $18,000 big deal, but anyway, that's just a break in the main. The dig that was going on out front was complicated by the lack of as-built and just a lot of stuff in the road. We had a clogged sewer main that we found on a Sunday morning. They roto-rooted it, found the clog, wasn't doing any good. And to make a long story short, there are abandoned water lines. We didn't know it, but there were two sewer pipes right next to each other. So we got one hole and we're clogging. They dug another hole and thought they were working on the right main, and then dug another one and found that the pipe was kind of collapsed. And it turned out just by doing a little extra excavation to try to make the hole more workable, they found another pipe right next to it. So one of them was for the old high school. They put a new service in, I guess, when they put this building in. So trying to avoid existing stuff, hitting things that they didn't know what it was. There was a manhole right about where the leak was, but there was a 90-degree elbow that took the sewer main down and underneath the manhole. Pretty crazy stuff. So That's about 50,000, and we have some, we fixed infrastructure, so we had kind of a little leftover from a sewer bond that we can use to pay for that. But those are, there's a lot of stuff, and I don't know how many on the board know, but unrelated to this, but just kind of like what you find when you dig a hole, all of the utility work they've been doing, putting new poles in up on Upper State Street. The power company put the poles in, hit concrete, jackhammered through it. And when we found a room,
I saw the picture,
yeah, and it turned out to be an old Bell Telephone junction area that looked like it was never used, but not on anybody's map or radar.
Was it on someone's property or was that?
It's in a right of way. I mean, somebody else owns the property.
Okay.
But it obviously was in the utilities right away for something at some point. But as I think I mentioned to some, that there are conduit pipes to go through that still have the pull ropes on them, like no conduit was ever pulled through. So not quite sure what it was all for.
Yeah.
I have a question just about that area. That's going to be a solar panel field. Is there like a way to make that not visible? I mean, is there a plan so that we're not staring at that every time we make that corner, the field? Is there?
Well, it's being built. Do you know that?
I know it's being,
Oh, I mean, can you see it?
I haven't really looked at it.
Well, I guess
I'm
my
just
point is that
curious.
there are trees as a buffer.
Okay.
Like there's a lot going on back there.
Okay.
I'm sure you have to be able to see it from the highway, but I'm not sure, it's kind of set back. I'm not
It is
sure
set
how.
Okay, that's what I didn't know.
That the PUC takes that into consideration
do.
to a degree, when they do all that.
Yep.
I know it looks pretty messed up there with
It
double
does.
poles everywhere. So,
Yeah.
The town's not involved in that. They
Right.
keep on top of just making sure that it's properly cleaned up and managed.
Good. Okay.
What are they doing with that underground bunker? I'm so intrigued by this. I'm sorry. I want to go in it. But also I just
It's
want to
very
know, like,
dangerous.
are they keeping it like as like, this is a part of history, or are they just like knock that out?
I'm going to say this isn't like King Tut's tombs. I don't know that anybody's keeping it as a part of history, but I haven't spoken to the contractors about it. I know that they moved where they were putting the pole,
Yep,
so it is still there.
that's really cool.
I'm going to guess that somebody somewhere is not going to want the liability now that we know that it's there and they're thinking fill it with sand or something like that.
Ah, okay.
Okay.
I was just curious because I thought that was just so cool,
Interesting things to find.
It is interesting. When they did Pine Street and dug up everything, I remember they found as if it was a well, but it was like really, high, and it was like stuff they used 100 years ago that nobody really knew was going to be there every time they dug. So it was kind of cool to see those things
Mhm.
because you wouldn't know until you did it and opened
All
it
these
up.
houses were here before there was a water and sewer
Yeah,
system.
so-
So there are pipes
Yeah.
that used to take stuff to the
Yeah.
nearest creek and things like that.
Pretty
So,
cool stuff.
Next up, we have a discussion item, the update on road project funding.
And I think we visited this at the last meeting. We were having some back and forth with our attorney about whether or not we should have put notices in the newspaper. And make a long story short, we went to the bond counsel that we've used in the past. And they went, oh yeah, we were involved in that. And you just need to write yourself a little letter that says we did everything and it wasn't intentional and there was plenty of public notice. It's a pretty standard thing. So we'll be able to move forward with that when the time comes and we'll be able to get the funding to do the road projects that we need to do. So that'll be later in the fall. We're kind of waiting around the skate park project because a lot of the paving's being done on Depot Avenue and that kind of thing.
That's good news.
It is good news.
So the town writes and says, we did this, and then the lawyer will sign off on it for you.
No, the lawyer says we've looked into like,
Oh, he's looked at,
yeah,
okay.
it's
Okay,
a
gotcha.
certification letter. And the primary purpose is that the lawyers look at our stuff and they don't find out that we have $100 million lawsuit pending
Yeah.
against us and things like that. And that we're following the rules.
Mhm.
And I think I mentioned last time, one of the rules is it's supposed to be in the newspaper for 3 consecutive weeks on the same day each week. And it was written in 1943 when there was more of that. So, I really don't know going back. There's a lot of new people. The law firm, the bond bank, new people. We had new people. And I know early on, we would write the bond questions and an attorney would write them for us. And they're not particularly complicated. And we would do what we did and just keep replicating that. And nobody ever said, wait a minute. And I don't know if it's from lack of oversight or the intent, like we've provided enough information to think, well, okay, no one's doing anything wrong here. Anyway, new people.
It is interesting though. You're right. We don't have our newspapers really like we used to. So like, what do they want you to do now? What do towns do? Everything's so digitized and,
Yeah, I mean, there's
like
not-
what's the alternative for people to do nowadays compared to, 10
Maybe
years
that's why they
ago?
leave the newspapers in there because it's a constant, even if nobody's reading them. I think if they would just leave it into 3 or 5 places where the public can reasonably expect to get their information. And for all I know, because I don't get too involved when there's nothing to be involved with, that we send it off and an attorney would have said to Ron, did you put that in the paper? And he goes, I don't know, but okay, you did plenty of other stuff. We'll just write one of these letters for you. And it goes forward. And I didn't even know that happened.
Yeah.
And many of our bond questions are several years old that we get the authority and it kind of sits there until we have the need. So maybe that was going on, but now with Ron not here and new attorneys, there's more people asking questions.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So now we're going to move into old business. First up, discussion item, fiscal year 2025 year-end financial update.
Yep, I put a page in the packet. It's a one pager. The important information is that we're going to run about a $300,000 deficit, which is about double what I was saying. There's a couple of reasons in there for that, but we'll have a plan to fix that through this year. Between watching our spending this year, hopefully it goes the other way and things like that, or having to come to the board and ask to allocate some of our reserve funds to the general fund. That could be a way to do that. I do want to point it out because I think it's a reflection on the department heads that I think we can all agree that it was a very tight budget last year. Nothing was, extra was in it. But just the things, and when I say things aren't budgeted, there are things like our liability insurance runs on a calendar year. So we know what 6 months is going to be, but we have to guess on the next 6 months. So it's budgeted, but there are unknowns at the time of doing the budgets. And we had staff changes and we have significantly changed the compensation packages for a few of those. But without going line item by line item on the little 1,000 or 2,000, I came up with $340,000 in unanticipated expenses, but the deficit is only 305. And if you go down the department line items, they all knew we were having a tough time, and they did, I'd say, everything they could to not buy what isn't needed, not to keep the problem going down the road. But this wasn't a matter of the department's not paying attention to their spending. It was a matter of things coming forward, some bad breaks. Some of those bad breaks were a result of the delays that taken to get new equipment in because of the whole COVID thing. And we're going through higher than expected maintenance on our ambulances and trucks. But anyway, that's where it is. During the course of this coming year, we'll come up with some options to say, how are we going to do this? But really at the end of every year, looking at this and saying, we have a surplus, what do you want to do with it? We have a deficit, how do you want to address that? Should be a bigger part of every conversation. And what has really helped me with this is Natalia's ability to break down the numbers. What the audit is going to show is that we probably have a very significant surplus because there are things like the last 2 weeks of the year were financial chaos. We got 585,000 in grant money for the new fire truck. but we didn't get the fire truck till fiscal 26. So the money's in 25, but the expenses in 26. We had some rail yards expenses that are going to be paid for. The grant that happened in 25 and 26. We had all this income come in 25. It's going to make us look real good. And then 26, auditor wise, is going to look bad because we bought $1 million worth of stuff that we got them, it all works out the wash. But clearing all of that stuff out and being able to just look at what was the operations that we voted on back in January and in March, and how did we do compared to that? Natalia's done a really good job of sussing all that out.
300,000 is quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big deficit.
So I have a question. It's just a technical question. When the department heads are spending money, does that come through you, or are they just doing, are you ultimately aware of all the spending, or is it something that they know the money's there and they just do what they want? I'm just curious, the process.
The way it works is when they buy stuff, they get the invoice, they assign the line item to it, and then it gets aggregated to get paid. When they get aggregated, I go through the accounts payable run, and I have to sign off on the accounts payable run. I look for things that stand out for purchases. Natalia looks at things for, did you put the right line item on it? Deb looks at things for kind of some of the same things. And Natalia, starting with July this year, when she sends the monthly operating reports back to the department head, she highlights in color that very few of our items are linear, that you spend 1/12 every month. But she'll compare year over year, last year, this year, where are you, and just kind of help them highlight it. I don't get too involved with things that are just regular consumable supplies and things like that. But anything, it could be like, we really need new tires for the grader, and that's going to be $6,000. Should I get it up top? Like, we have those kind of conversations on those kind of purchases.
Okay.
All right, next up is another discussion item for the new website.
We've been talking about this for a bit, and the structure is done, and this Riley, Tiffany, and I think right now just Riley and Tiffany and Marco are being trained by Civic Plus on how to manage the website, do the day-to-day things. There's 3 training sessions of 4 hours apiece. So we've had one of those training sessions last week. We'll have another one this week. And my expectation is sometime in September, it'll go live. My expectation is also that we will have a link that, while it's not live, I can share with you guys and whoever else, just to say, this is what it looks like. Do you notice anything? Stuff like that. And we'll build it from there, but that should be coming along. It's going along according to schedule.
That's exciting.
Goodness.
Well, it's just going to be new, so we'll have a whole new set of problems.
Right. I know.
As we all learn.
Still,
We'll learn. But I think
it's going to be better.
it will be better.
Yeah.
Things are always a learning curve.
All right, next up, discussion item, select board public outreach. We have continued to do our public outreach efforts this summer. I believe Mary and Jeffrey have been available at the concerts that have not been canceled at the Common.
Coming up Wednesday,
There's one,
I will
last
be
one
there.
coming up this Wednesday. And is it at 6:30?
6 o'clock,
6
to 8.
o'clock. And then we also got together, everyone except Ryan could make it. We kind of did shifts. We got together at the Connecticut Valley Insurance on Main Street. It's been really nice getting to talk with people. We're also finishing up this week with the last department head. So we have made it all the way around full circle here. Is there anything that you
We have a
guys,
coming September,
with the Democratic,
yeah, that's
that is
September
coming,
13th
okay,
at,
the Welcome Center.
10 to 11:30. It's called Coffee and Conversation, Windsor. I'm sure they'll put it in the newsletter.
Yep.
I will be there for that.
Go Mary.
Maybe Emma may like to join me if she's free. Emma.
Hint, hint.
So
Hi,
we'll-
hey,
that's
I am
coming up in a
sorry, I
couple
am
weeks.
listening. My phone was just on the other side of the room. It's, I have it in my calendar and I have it in my co-parent's calendar. So I am hoping to be there.
Oh, good.
Awesome.
I look at, I see the
We,
timer.
we also have the option of having, the same kind of event at the library.
Yes,
Which,
which I want to do.
okay, so I was
Yeah.
just waiting because I do have the schedule of
Oh,
when
good.
it's possible to do it or when the best
Yep.
times are. So I was just waiting to see if we needed that extra time, and if we do, I'll be glad to facilitate that one.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
October. Seeing we have something in
Yeah.
September.
Yeah.
We're winding up August. Maybe
That would be
something at
good.
the library in
Yeah.
October, mid-October might be good.
I think that would be good, like space them out a little bit.
Yes.
to,
So,
You
so
know,
that's-
and then, so my next question is, I don't know the exact wording, but now that we've kind of like gone around, we have a lot of information, but us five have not had a chance to talk together without breaking open meeting law. So are we able to do like maybe at one of our next meetings, like an executive session where we can finally talk as the board about what we have and kind of where we're going?
I think so.
Okay, because from what I looked up, yes.
I mean, it's a personnel decision, but it's
Yes.
not really a personnel
not-
decision. I mean, it's
Yes.
about a personnel decision,
Yeah,
but, I'll find out. But I-
okay. So I looked it up too, and I was like, I know who will have the answer. Mr. Tom.
But I mean, this isn't like, do we hire person A, B, or C?
Yeah, no.
So,
It's just how to, like, now we have the information, we need to talk together about the information, what kind of our next step is and when. And so that's all we would be.
what bad thing would happen if it was a public discussion?
It's just really disorganized, like we haven't had a chance to, I don't
There hasn't been any
know.
conversations.
Yeah, we've just
Like,
gathered information.
If we've been together, there's been a conversation going on and then two other people over here, but they don't know what these other three people
Yeah.
know, that kind of thing.
We just haven't got to like,
In the room.
and so we've been wondering, how can we five talk but not break open meeting
Well, I
law?
mean, you could just schedule a special select board meeting and talk about it in public.
Okay. All right.
Like,
And
I'm being the devil's advocate here, if you're a member of the public and all you're
Mhm.
talking about is what you heard from the public, why couldn't that be a public discussion?
Because
yes,
I think it's gonna go a step further. I mean, I think we still have a lot of decisions to make. One, yeah. Are we, how do we all feel about, well, all this could be done in public though, I guess.
Yeah.
Hiring, someone to do the recruiting or the, whatever.
like a consultant.
You know, the consultant. I mean, do we want to have another, a group involved, another group
Yeah.
involved?
And then we wanted to kind of just get
Yeah.
like a time, like now that we're here, like kind of like where we're going next.
Yeah.
I guess it could be done both ways. I just felt like it was gonna be really
All that sounds to me like it needs to be an open
Okay.
meeting. I don't know that any of that, to me, warrants that
So
it should be in a.
should we do a special meeting just for that and then keep our regularly scheduled meetings as?
I mean, that part doesn't matter. You can get to
Okay.
have it, but I would
All
say
right.
the only thing that gets weird for public is, well, three people said that Joe Smith or Sally Smith would be a great manager, and I think Sally and Joe are both idiots. Like, you don't really want to.
We're not even we're
So if
not,
you're not talking about personalities
Okay.
and individuals, you're just talking
Okay.
about concepts. We need a
Concepts.
consultant.
Perfect.
Well, that's really
okay.
public.
I just didn't know
Well,
how we can talk and at least get to
I
where
don't
we're
know.
going.
My opinion is, I think it makes more sense for five of us to be in a room together so we can talk freely and come up with a plan and then share what that plan going forward is. Because one of the things we keep getting asked is, are we going to get a consultant? Are we going to have a search committee? Are we going to do certain things? When are we going to do it? Why are you waiting so long? So it's like, we haven't even had a chance to discuss it among ourselves. So it's hard to answer anybody in the public. But what the plan is,
But you're kind of formulating a governmental decision.
Yep.
well, these have been suggestions, but
No, what I'm saying, that for you to sit around and say, should we hire a consultant? And y'all start having that conversation, that's not a private discussion.
Yep.
I mean,
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
I get what you're saying.
so, and just, on the timing thing, Springfield, the town manager there is looking to retire. He doesn't have a hard date, but he's looking like December. They just hired a consultant, and I think I sent a couple of emails around saying when my predecessor notified the town he wasn't going to renew his contract, that happened in February.
Okay.
So when he was leaving in June. So this whole thing, for whatever reason, got out of the barn a little fast, but we're a couple of months ahead from probably when in a regular situation would have even started the conversation.
Yes.
So one of the comments that has been made is that this person had thought a 6-month overlap with you would be helpful. So I don't know how
Like a
realistic that is,
3 to 6.
but that's one of the requests we've had. So I was thinking 6-month overlap, does that mean we would hire someone 6 months before June 30th? So I think that kind of adds,
To the timeline?
to the timeline is.
Like if we want to have an
Is it gonna
overlap
be that way?
with,
Yeah.
6 months is for a position like that. I mean, I get people understanding that, but I think, and not jumping ahead for Tom, but I think he's expressed before that's, a couple weeks is probably acceptable. 2 executive level positions are going to be tripping over each other. And for 6 months is like a ridiculous amount of time. I mean, that's just my thought there. That
Yeah, and I agree, but I mean, that has been a request. So
Yeah.
I'm saying, how do we answer that request? Are we gonna?
well, just because
This person wanted to hustle the timeline up
But just
faster.
because people request and say things and
Yeah.
stuff doesn't, I mean, that's just, okay,
Yeah.
we take that under advisement, but that's,
I understand that. Yeah, I get it. I
Hey,
just-
sorry, I've had my hand raised for a hot minute and I have a
Yes,
quiet
Emma.
child for like one. No, sorry, I have a quiet child, so I'm gonna say this. I was originally very anti-consultant and I kind of got over it. And I do think at this point that we should do that. I don't know what we want the budget to be for that.
well, that's what
I-
we want to have a talk. That's why we want to talk.
Yeah, and I think, well, the thing is like, we want to hammer that out, but if we don't have public input on that, and then we have the people that say, why are my taxes so high? And we say, because like we decided to hire consultants instead of having like the transparent conversation.
What one do you want?
I want the blue one. Can you go show Basil? He's outside. Thank you very much. I think, and in terms of an overlap, like I think it's not exactly medium between 6 months and 2 weeks, but I think a month would maybe be appropriate just for everybody to feel very comfortable because we're going to miss you, Thomas. Everyone's going to be panicking. And that's what I think about that. Thank you.
I would say discussions like this are why it should be in public.
Yep. Okay.
I will tell you,
So we'll
even a
schedule.
month overlap would be a non-starter for almost everybody.
Okay.
This came up just the other, like when we had our town managers gathering last week, and I'm not like to beat this particular issue to death.
Yeah.
But it's not an uncommon thought. In fact, when one town manager in Hartford left, they put into it that there would be a year overlap. And everybody just laughed at that. And the manager at the time he quit one day, walked out the door. And that was that. But yeah, you can only have one boss and nobody wants to be working with the other person, looking over their shoulder. And, as I've said repeatedly, if anybody needs to reach out to me, I'm going to be accessible. But I'm thinking days, like,
Okay.
it would work out well for me. I got
Yeah, I think
married in
it's-
June,
Do
and
you think it's sufficient for you? Like if somebody's like 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 days?
I
like-
came up three different days. Like I got hired in June sometime. I started at the beginning of August. And 3 times in between that, I came up and hung out with the town manager at the time and
Okay.
showed me the ropes and that kind of thing like that. But it's weird. I'm just thinking.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well,
Yeah.
the other part that I thought of was Like if you were gonna have an overlap, that means we're paying two town managers
Right.
and we're already, yeah, so there is a lot. It was just, it was brought up and we were like, well, we have to figure something out. So I would say I'll reach out to you guys to see what your schedule is like, but I'm thinking scheduling a special meeting just to chat about this
Mhm.
and then keeping our regular meetings
Sounds good.
regularly scheduled. Yes, Ryan?
I totally disagree with a special meeting. I think this is exactly what you would talk about during a select board meeting.
So just put it on our next meeting?
I would just put it on, well, whenever, but I also think that like we're getting way too far down in the weeds. Like what we need to do as a group is figure out the direction,
Yeah,
what we want to do,
that's what I
what
said.
we're looking for a position, but trying to figure out like how long they need for overlap and all these type of things. Like, I mean,
That's what we just said. We need to have the discussion to figure out what direction we're going. But you don't think it should be a special meeting?
I don't think it should be a special meeting, and I don't
Okay.
think that we need to get so far down the weeds. I think it needs to be a higher level thing and go.
I just think it's gonna be a lot of talking, so I don't know what we have coming down the line. I guess we'll see what the next agenda is gonna look like. That was my thought, was I just feel like it's gonna be a lot of talking, so time-wise, I didn't know if it would be
Meeting.
a little easier to have a special meeting where we can focus on that and not feel rushed. But we'll figure it out.
Your concern was the meeting would go really long.
Yeah, like if we have a regular meeting, but then we add this in there, I mean, I can tell you this isn't gonna be just a 5-minute conversation and we're done, like, I feel like everybody has questions.
But we
Yeah.
won't solve everything in one meeting.
No,
This will be.
but
an
it would at
ongoing
least be,
process.
okay, this is the
Yeah.
direction we're going, and now at least we're all on the same page, because I feel like we've gotten so much coming in, but we haven't had a chance to talk about it together, so it's just been like, I just want to talk to everybody.
I would suggest you all think about the value of having a consultant. I would strongly suggest you get one.
It's been strongly
And then
suggested.
once you have that, that takes care, then just, you're
Yeah,
paying someone to tell you how to do it.
yeah,
So say, how do we do this? And when the person answers you, pay attention to them and then do it. And you're not going to have to get down in the weeds
Okay.
because this is
Got
happening
you.
unfortunately way more than
Yeah.
it should. But there's some industry standards on all of this stuff. So I think you have that public conversation about attributes and things like that and whether or not you want a consultant. And then once you hire the consultant,
Then it-
runs the show.
yeah.
And how many options are there in terms of where we look for consulting? How many businesses?
Like local, you mean like local?
Well, I know there's.
Consultants?
BLTC.
Yeah, and then there's
CPL.
the,
Springfield just went through an RFP for consultants, and I think they sent out 5 or 6, and they got responses from all of them, and they've chosen somebody.
okay, so there's that many out there.
Okay,
I guess
so
I don't-
like we have options.
There's options. Again, none of this is reinventing the wheel.
Ryan,
Yeah, I just think that maybe we just should push forward in that direction and go, okay, let's hire somebody to do this for us. And then we are talking more about the direction and attributes and things that we want. But I think I think we should just, I mean, there's a lot of these companies out there that do this for a living. We don't have to spend $100 million. I mean, and I think we set aside a reasonable budget. I mean, 10 grand would be a lot for this, I think. I don't think we need a ton of money set aside. And I think we just push forward with, let's spend a little money up front and have somebody do it and not get down in the weeds. There's a ton of companies out there, like Tom said, that will do this,
we will have this discussion soon
Yeah, I think it's a matter of educating ourselves.
Yeah.
Sounds like that's what.
and
we
seeing
need.
what's out there and then getting us all on the same page. If we are hiring a consultant, who do we want, But yeah, I'm hopeful that's the direction we'll be going in, but that's why we need to talk, talk. Okay, so does anybody have any more before I move on to the next?
I'm available whether it's a regular meeting or a special meeting. Just
Awesome.
in general, whatever you decide.
Okay. So next up, we are gonna do a discussion item for the Wick, Jarvis, and National Street houses. Take it away, Tom.
Okay, and this is related to the houses that will be coming our way sometime. We've talked mostly about 15 and 29 National. 15 is owned by the town. We acquired it through a tax sale before I got here, so it's been around for a long time. 29 was purchased by WIC. 29 and I think 38 Jarvis Street, the greenhouse. At the same time, they were both not habitable, and one person owned both of those, and WIC bought them both. WIC bought all of that stuff with money that the town loaned. So here we are moving to the next phase. The house on Jarvis Street has worked out well. There's been one tenant since 2017. But the WIC, they're having a meeting. They're going to discuss this on Thursday so they can express their opinions. They've expressed to me they really don't like being landlords. Not that there's been problems, it's just not what they do. River Valley Properties manages the property, so they take care of the day-to-day stuff. But anyway, that's not what they want to do. The 29 National Street, just what we're thinking, what the concept is, and this is maybe something in my head, well, this is always just going to have to work this way, that it would either have to be that WIC buys the house from the town and puts it on their property, or the town buys the land from WIC and we put the house. So it's not one entity owning the land and the other one owning the house. It's just a nightmare. So WIC originally borrowed $155,000 to do this, and it was an unusual thing. $100,000 was for one house. The other $50,000 was as soon as the second house got renovated is when payments would start on the $50,000 loan. Since they never started renovating the house, they never paid anything back on it. But the long and short of it is $155,000 was loaned and about $132,000 is on the balance now. So Flint and I have been going back and forth about this, and the feeling is the cleanest thing to do is just have WIC transfer the house on Jarvis Street and the property on National Street to the town. And in consideration for that, we would satisfy the loan that WIC has with the town. So it'd be about $132,000. The current rent, I believe, is $1,100 a month on Jarvis Street. That would be considered by most below market. But that's been coming in okay. I think, put it in an email, I think we have that house on our books for like $89,000. And looking at various real estate and sites and talking to people that are in the business, they said you could get 110 easy, you could maybe get 150 for it if the right person came along. So the idea would then be if the town wanted to cash out and sell the house, you could do that. That would put money back into the revolving loan fund. You know, we would be whole on that whole loan. We would be ahead in that process. Or you could continue to take, you know, the rental income from that and put it in towards the revolving loan fund. The discussion has been for the other two houses, how that gets paid back. So we should have a decision on what's going to happen before we plop a house on the National Street site. But I do think it's be easier for management all around if this is what we're doing and it's a town project now, take all three houses.
I'm just wondering why, like, is the house, the one that's already up on stilts, the green one, is 29? Like, why it hasn't been sold so far? If it was redone in 2017 and it's been in good shape, it's had the same tenants since 2017, are they not interested in buying it? Is there a reason that it hasn't been sold until now? I'm just wondering, like, are we going to get stuck with some house that no one wants to buy?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, I think we can all agree the market changed a lot over the last few years. So if the town had 130,000 into it, they weren't able to sell it for that. So now, after more years have gone by, and we've got about 20,000 in equity through the loan payments back, that's brought that down, and the values of the houses have gone up. So it's just a more plausible scenario than it was. But I mean, it's basically the same situation as when these new houses go on. they're gonna cost 225, and you're gonna be able to sell them for 125. So it's that upside down thing in the market that's been the delay. And I think there hadn't been a clear direction, particularly we've tried to give away 29 National Street, both of these houses, and just, we got where we are after a lot of different tries on doing different things with the properties.
Mary?
I'd like to see Wick actually sell the property and let them do some of that work. Like who would be, if we wanted to sell it, say we took it over and wanted to sell it, who would be overseeing that, in the town? Because we don't have a realtor. So who would start, showing it if we wanted to sell it? Who takes care of it? Would it be River Valley? Would they have, do something
Selling,
like
we
that?
would hire a realtor and they'd sell a house.
Well, then you have to pay a realtor. You're going to lose money there. So why not Wick sell it? Put in whatever effort they need to do to sell it. Why isn't that? I mean, it could be an option, but
I would say we're in a much better position to do it than they are. We have more resources than they do. And we're going to be the ones ending up on the hook for stuff. So I would rather be in control of that.
Brian?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, you could put out an RFP, or you could just hire a realtor like Tom's saying, but that's not a big deal. It's just, yeah, you lose a little bit of money on it, but I don't think it's gonna be that big of a deal to sell it.
And you don't lose money if a realtor gets you 30,000 more than you would get not using one, and they charge us 6 for their work.
right.
And they would be giving, I want to make sure I got this right. So we would forgive their revolving loan fund of $132,000 in exchange for both of them, the house that's on stilts and the land for one of the modulars that we're putting up. So then in the end, we, the town, will own all 3 of the houses down there.
And the other thing is, I don't know that selling it is the best option. I mean, if the rental's going well, keep collecting the rent and sell it sometime in the future. I'm not making that decision. I'm just saying, for me, the town would rather be in control of that decision than having Wick, because we're the ones who are owed the money. I would rather be in charge of getting our money back than our customer being in charge of getting the money back.
My last question is if we own 3 properties, I'm assuming it's not like the town that's dealing with it. Do we have to have a property management that manages it, or how does that work?
River Valley Properties has been doing a good job. They have a big
Okay.
footprint in town,
So
so
they would
they take care of, they've done a good job for WIC in managing that property and staying on top of maintenance and collecting bills. And yes, there's a fee associated, but I would say the fee is less than the headache that it avoids.
Okay.
I'm glad we don't have to vote on this, because I don't think you're going to get this kind of money. We differ in our points of view about that for these properties, and I think the town is going to end up losing money this way too, whether you sold that or not. But is that a 1 or 2 bedroom house on Jarvis?
2.
2.
Okay.
So, and I wouldn't, like I said, I'm not all focused on selling it. And there's a 7-year track record of successful rentals. And that can change tomorrow when you get a notice, that's for sure. But
Yeah.
like I always ask, if not this, then what? What's the option? And we pretty much 100% fund WIC. So if it doesn't go well, it doesn't go well for the town, if WIC still owns it. WIC does get rental income from Goodyear. I don't want to imply that all of their operating income comes from us, but they could not operate without what the town provides.
Is there any balance sheet on the property, like what the monthly expenses are? I mean, I know you're just saying Wick doesn't want to be a landlord, so it's like, is there something more to that we're just not getting? Is there issues with the property that we're not being aware of, that they just don't want to deal with? I mean, I don't know. There's no mortgage from the bank, right? Because they get the money from the town directly.
They get a monthly statement from River Valley Properties. I don't really, I know that there's not been a systemic problem there. I really get the sense, is that WIC is whatever it is, 10 volunteers. Other than Katie Ledoux, who's got experience in real estate, none of them have, and they don't have an idea what's going on with all of this. And Springfield Regional Development Corporation is really the horsepower behind WIC. And they cover, 13 towns. And a lot of their effort is put into managing the Goodyear property, which is not something that they signed on for originally, but they do a good job of managing what you think of Goodyear, but it also includes the resource center and all the tenants that are in the resource center. But they just don't have the horsepower or the expertise to do this. And if their mission is assisting with economic development, you can say that the Goodyear property is revitalizing an old industrial site, and that's economic development, trying to make that a better asset for the community. But residential home oversight is not what they do. And I just don't think they want to be bothered with it. So.
I was just going to say,
Brian.
I was just going to say, they're just a volunteer organization really at the end of the day, right? So, they had good intentions, but I think it's a lot of work to oversee it. And I think, like Tom says, really WIC's just an extension of the town, even though it's not. So anyways, that's my 2 cents on that.
Any other discussion?
I don't think we need to get into this too heavily, but during one of our interactions with a public member, there was a lot of frustration from that public member about the parking lot that WIC owns down in that area. And I wonder what the big picture is for that, because there's a lot of tension coming from
There's a lot of fighting.
a lot from
There's
that.
rent being collected for people to be able to park their cars there that live across the street.
Yeah.
Who have been parking there for,
20
since I lived down there
Yeah.
20 years ago.
How much is that rent?
I think I had, hold on, I think I
There was
wrote it down.
$1,000 thrown out there. I don't know where it was somewhat
That was for a whole year or a season.
difficult to understand
But
the issue.
yeah,
'Cause-
we were just wondering like what,
Yeah, but WIC was certainly a part of the conversation. That parking lot was part of the conversation, and I didn't understand it, I guess. So,
We actually went down to look at the area because we
yeah,
hearing this in conversation from this resident, we weren't sure exactly.
and people have been asking
Any
me,
contacts?
the design and review board. I was talking with Henry yesterday, and I asked him about that property, and there's some real possessive feelings about that parking.
one of the
area.
examples is, I remember him saying that, so basically the residents that live across the street pay WIC now to be able to use just the front side where they can park their cars. But then in doing so, this is what we're told, that, so like WIC will have the whole thing plowed except for where the cars park. Now, I don't know the full story. I just know that for 45 minutes, we listened to the rant of all rants. But after talking to that person, I talked to a couple other people who live down there that said, yeah, that really is happening. And we go through a lot down here. It's so stressful just to be able to park our cars. And so I was like, I want to look into this.
Yeah,
And just find out what is going on and can we make it better for everyone somehow? Because it seems like there's a lot of tension.
I will say that's not how I understand it to have been set up. I understand there has always been some tension. When WIC took it over, there was maybe 10 abandoned cars all parked along the front. It took some wrangling
Yeah.
to figure out how to get rid of those cars, but they are all gone.
Yeah.
And This is what, I'm not saying this is what's happening, this is what I thought was happening. When that all came about, the people across the street, there were people who used it to park.
Yeah.
And everybody got it. You're parking on private property. Doesn't matter if you've been doing it for 100 years, you're parking on private property. And if they want to say no, they can say no. But nobody did that. So that first row was for residents across the street, but nobody goes and knocks on, hey, your license plate doesn't match. That didn't happen. And then for winter, we worked with WIC and said, the town will come and plow the parking lot. Well, if cars are there, they're going to get plowed in, but we'll kind of like make two passes. We had the expectation that there may have been a lot of people on Jarvis and National Street wanting to park there because we went to parking on only one side of the street when ambulance couldn't get down the road and parking, stuff like that. So we thought that it was going to be more of a need, and there was actually a plan to get parking stickers like we have for the lot that's behind Constitution Common. Well, that never materialized. There's just the people who are parking in front. As far as I know, if there was going to be a fee collected, it would have been through the town, and we're not. So I'll look in to see if WIC is charging them a fee, and if they are, and that's what they choose to do, then that's what's going on. But I know the tension has been there for a long time. This just does not sound like, and just in matter of fees, the town charges $25 for the year for the spot behind that. And we tell people that if you're parked there between like 9 and noon on Wednesdays in the wintertime, you will get plowed in. Oh, and you'll get a ticket because that's what the sign says is we need to come in and plow. So anyway, I'll check into it. But
It was convoluted, so I didn't know where the truth lies. But antagonism was there.
I have found Heather, who manages the property over there,
The name was mentioned.
very accommodating.
It was a gentleman's name that was mentioned.
Donnie.
Donnie.
Yeah. I don't remember Heather, but we knew we weren't getting complete context too.
Right.
But-
And we were hearing one side of the story, but I'm sure there's another side too. So that's why we just kind of wanted to.
Put it out there as a confused.
And is there anything we could do to lessen the
Antagonism.
chaos that seems to be arising down there? That's not gonna happen.
Follow up on that.
Okay.
If you may also want to bring that up at the WIC meeting. Are you?
Well, I wondered about that.
Mhm.
Just ask for clarification.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I know, they've done that and they said, okay,
Yeah.
I just don't see that. There's like no money involved and you're asking for problems, right? Like you're going to make maybe $200 for the year to go and try to collect money from people to park there, and then you're going to tow them when they don't, like, I don't know. It's like
It's
a whole
counterintuitive.
big nightmare. Yeah.
Well, snow removal was part of the picture, dumping snow on something that had already been plowed. I mean, it was very hard to understand. Well, I didn't understand.
Well, and then I know that the Veggie Van Gogh van,
Oh, yeah.
they use that once a month for parking down there. I don't know what they do about that in the wintertime. That could get snow moved around. I mean, I don't know.
And maybe.
So,
During the winter, there was a cleared off space because I used to volunteer for Veggie Van Gogh. And it never seemed to be a problem. And it wasn't way over where this parking space is that we looked at recently. It's more towards
Like,
the entrance, when they line them up. And it works really, really well down there. I mean, that was a genius thing to do when COVID came and got it away from the hospital because it's a
Yeah.
nice area down there. But
well, I know there are some personalities on the Goodyear
Yes.
property and off it.
Yes.
And I can see how, particularly if something is festering over time, there's frustrations.
okay.
thank you. So I guess now we'll dig into the town manager's report. Oh, you, Tom.
Right, well, first one, I have
You picked
the
it.
Joy. Okay, we got,
Ooh. Is it here?
the top one is the bottom one's on its way. So that's the new fire truck. It's a pumper tanker. It can
Yeah.
carry a lot of water and pump a lot of water far. If you have parades, get two of them. So it replaces an older truck that was just a tanker. That was paid for with ARPA money and a grant, so about $685,000. when Kevin went down to Louisiana to do the final inspection and pick them up, and they said that truck is now 1.2 million. And there are federal investigations isn't the right word, like they're investigating, but the whole industry is consolidated into a handful of owners and
Monopolies.
It's just availability and price. Conversely, it's like every single one gets built almost custom, and maybe that has to be looked at too. But it's a different world out there for this kind of equipment, and I'm sure it'll be reminded more than once we still have the ladder trucks. The loader on the bottom, that's replacing a 2008 loader. We got 40,000 for that on the trade. So that'll be here, gets used a lot, and it gets split between water, sewer, and highway. So those payments are split between all that. We're running the financing through the dealer, 4.5%. So that was better than we could get at the banks. So
Nice.
51 Central, so that's fun. So my editorial is, this shows you how you don't come to the government to solve your problems. We heard an awful lot of drama about what was going on over there, and we had our hands tied about what the government allows us to do. The neighbors got involved, and they started taking the issue to some of the elected representatives, and that seemed to have an impact on some law enforcement ability or action on some charges that have been brought against members. And then one of the neighbors stepped forward and said, "What if I buy it?" And it blew me away how quickly he was able to pull that off. And not just, he was able to meet with the owner there. They got a gentleman's agreement. There were two owners, one had been deceased. Tara was able to get involved with the daughter of the deceased owner and bring her to the table. We were able to come up with an agreement where everybody got something out of the deal, and they realized that if it's either everybody gets something or nobody gets anything. And within a couple conversations, that got answered. Town attorneys drafted the paperwork. Paperwork was done. The neighbor made the financial arrangements with the folks. The town acted as an intermediate with that. And if anybody's been down there, you've seen it's been cleaned up quite a bit. And today was moving day. And even to that, Fred, who's the new owner, said quite a few of the frequenters of the trailer help move.
Good.
Like, it wasn't a big adversarial thing. It was.
They went willingly.
They went willingly, and it should be all like boarded up by now. So Fred, I think, was hopeful that there was something salvageable about that and he could renovate it. That doesn't seem to be the case. So I know I overstepped my authority, but when Fred was willing to do this with some input from some of the board members, I said we can take this to the Board of Abatement and have taxes abated. If this went to tax sale, there wouldn't have been a line of people there for that. The town would pay to get rid of that trailer, get it all cleaned up and make it clean. So I think we're still way ahead of the game, certainly ahead of the game on the timetable.
Exactly.
We're a year and a half away where we would be without that. So Fred is, assessing what can come next, but has really done a great job getting the community around and getting the property cleaned up. We did provide the dumpsters as long as he provided the horsepower, and all of that's going really well. So, if you really want to get something to happen, you put some of your own sweat equity and a little bit of money in behind it, and we can help. But if you're just waiting for us to come in, like I know some Facebook warriors are all about, get in there. Why don't the government do it? Why doesn't the town do anything? The laws are the laws.
So much we can do.
Right. So, yes, there are some other properties in town, but I can assure you that our law enforcement is aware of the activities that are going on that weren't much different than the trailer. They're on tax sale lists, and at that time frame, if somebody wants to step forward and buy one.
But the biggest one that we had that was the most visible, that we had the most complaints about, is taken care of.
Right.
I've been waiting for the moving day. I didn't know it was today. I feel like I'm going to go have a party now because I didn't know if that was going to go smoothly. I knew it was the next step, and I was like, I'll believe this when it's all done, when everybody's out. Right now, it's, I've given him 2 weeks. I'm like, I want to see when the 2 weeks is up and make sure that this is
Well, anecdotally, there's also been people in other places now.
Yes.
So.
And we knew that that was coming. But I feel like it's a small victory. I really do, you know? Like for me, it's like closure to a 5.5 year grief journey from that trailer. And I am so thankful. Not all heroes wear capes, but Mr. Fred deserves a cape.
I was gonna say thank you to him for coming to that meeting
Yeah.
originally,
And actually,
mentioning it and following through on his
Yeah.
word. That was incredible, really.
Oh, he's
Yeah.
been tenacious even. There's a big tree in there. Calls the power company and it was on them. Finally got them to commit that they're going to come and trim back the branches off. I mean,
Thank you.
he's taking it on.
I can't believe what it looks like right now.
Yeah.
Like in 48 hours, complete transformation. And I was like, what am I looking at right now? You don't even know what to think now because
Right.
this is so good.
Okay.
That was the best update of the whole year, possibly, for me.
You know, I think when it's back to being a productive, I think, not to go on, everything was focused on the bad stuff happening at that trailer. I think this just points out that there's good people living all over
Yeah.
town.
I
and
agree.
Yeah.
Neighbors that came together that did this, and it's going to be a nice place for somebody else to live.
Yeah.
When we get that figured out how
Yeah.
to do it.
Right.
Okay,
Ball courts and rail yard.
so, ooh. They're on the same bullet point, but they are not together. We took the skate park that's up at the fairgrounds and repaved half of it essentially, which is enough room to fit 3 pickleball courts. So the paving has been done. Now that summer camp has ended, the rec department are gathering their wits about them and they'll go up and they'll paint the lines and put the nets up in there. So we'll have 3 pickleball courts at the fairgrounds by sometime in September.
Very
So
cool.
Then we'll find out just how noisy and annoying it all is, or not. I don't know.
And how many kids that are skateboarding get hit with a pickleball?
It's
I don't know.
could just be the worst thing to put next week. But transitioning from that over to the rail yards, that's taking shape. I went over, I got the tour by the guy who's building it, and it really is, it's like they're sculpting it out and putting it around. Gosh, they're so excited, and the guys who built it are all skaters, and I have no concept of space, and like, I can't figure that stuff out. And I'm like, okay, now this will be good, this will be good. So that's coming along. The grass is not. We've gone through that with the guy who sprayed the grass seed.
Is that going to be done this summer or next summer? Like when it's completed?
The skate park will be finished, like say in October.
Okay.
So we'll say that the park is not going to be usable this
Okay.
year. So
Okay.
when we're going to have it reseeded.
That's what I was
We'll mow
wondering.
down all the weeds when the construction is going, and we'll pave Depot Avenue, pave the parking lots, and pave the little trails that go around on there. So it will look nice in the spring. And the skate park will be usable in the spring, and the picnic tables get put out in the spring, and we'll.
Will they do a grand opening or like a
Ribbon cutting.
ribbon cutting or, just
No,
a,
I think not, because it all
Okay.
be compared to the one that was done over at the fairgrounds, and nobody wants to have to meet that bar. So unless you want to put on the ribbon cutting, yeah, I'm sure we're going to do something.
okay.
Yeah, sure. There's also some sculpture coming.
Yeah. It's really
So,
cool.
yeah, I think we'll have a big party over there when it all.
I'm excited to check it out.
Well, I think it will be an asset the community will enjoy for a long time.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so that's coming along. And the last thing is zoning communications. So I met with a chair and vice chair, and we discussed some resident issues with zoning communications, which was not a surprise to me. It had a lot to do with just the remote access. Hallie, the zoning administrator, she's been in town for a week, a month, and we share that week with Bellows Falls. So All that said, I had been aware of some like emails not being returned. And, that just non-responsiveness, didn't really matter if she was here or not, just not being responded. There did turn out to be a technical issue with emails not going through. That has been solved. And there was also, I'm going to say, a communication issue that I was in the middle of where this, it's oftentimes in the clerk's office and the zoning office, we all know that title search people come in and go through the records and things like that. And now it's more and more stuff online. Fewer people are coming in, but we're getting more calls. Could you just go check the records to make sure there's nothing in the violations in the zoning thing and my guidance has been, no, kind of like, we're not going to be on the hook. Like you're getting paid to be the searcher and then I'm just going to transfer. And then you're going to say, well, they told me that there was something in the file. So, I met with Haley and I met with Riley and how she handles the clerk side, and we came up with a, kind of plausible deniability that we'll do what we can to help look, but we'll also, put a little thing on there saying that we look to the best of our ability, but this isn't a guarantee, blah, 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 like that. So in the past, some of these things would just come in and no, and it'd be out of state people, or sometimes they would be in-state attorneys' offices and things like that. Anyway, we're on a different track with that. The part that we're working to improve is shortly we'll have online forms, but there is a component of the community that doesn't go online, doesn't want to go online, doesn't want to meet remotely. They want to come in and talk to somebody to do that. And while Hallie won't be here any more frequently than that, Michelle in particular has stepped up as the assessor. She's already familiar with a lot of the land records. And, one of the cost overruns, so to speak, that we incurred last year was bringing Tiffany on in the treasurer's office and Michelle on in the assessor's office. They both work, an extra day a week than their predecessors did. And when that's what they needed to make in order to take the job, and they are both been very competent at what they do. So good finds, but it's with the understanding that we need cross training. And that was very evident when Riley was out on her maternity leave. It really was seamless with everybody pitching in and helping out along with Clyde, who, was retired from Heartland. But to, have forms available in the office, to get somebody pretty far down the path. And if somebody says, I have a really complicated zoning issue and I don't do email, that's going to be on the person to expand their horizons and become a little more accessible. But most people are not complicated. They're looking to do something simple. And if Hallie's not around, then Riley or Tiffany or Michelle will be able to get them set up with a hard copy of an application and check records for it and stuff like that. So we're making, I think, good progress on that. And what Hallie does bring is a level of professionalism that we need for our zoning town plan and updates to our regulations and things like that. So that's going on its own path. That's what I have to say about that.
All right. I think we can sign some orders if we have a motion.
I'll make a motion to sign orders.
Easy this week.
I will second that. Do we have any discussion? Mary, how do you vote? Jeffrey? Aye. Brian?
Aye.
Emma?
It's just that one page, Tom.
That's it.
So, okay.
I'm going to assume she said aye. It passed anyways, but yeah. And let's see, there's no public comments. So we could do board member comments while we sign the orders. You say there wasn't much, is it just the top page?
Yeah, I mean, the ones that were on the website box.
Okay. And do you need one of them to sign, or is it good with the three? Okay. Well then, Emma, are you still with us? How about Ryan? Do you want to start off with board member comments?
I really don't have much tonight. So yeah.
Let's see. I will end with, this Wednesday is, I believe, the last concert on the green.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, Mary and Jeffrey will both be there if anybody would like to come chat with your local select board. On July, it's been a long day. At the end of this month, on August 31st, we're gearing up for Windsor's 4th annual Overdose Awareness Day. That's going to take place at the Common. There's banners up. There's flyers out. We have a Facebook page, but this takes place from 6 to 8 p.m. This is a free event. There's food, candle vigil, speakers, resources. So come on down.
I really don't have any comments. Nothing.
I don't have much except to thank you to Fred Maury, is that his last name, for coming forward. That was really awesome. Thank you.
Oh,
Brian?
I did have a little quick comment.
Yeah.
You're bringing up the 4th annual overdose awareness that, if I'm not mistaken, you started that and you got the ball rolling. And I just want to say, it's been cool to see you do a lot of these community involvement things, from the playground to the overdose and kind of spearheading the community engagement on the town manager search thing. So I think it's pretty cool.
Thank you, Ryan. I think that's it. We are going to adjourn this meeting at 7:44.
Thank you,
Excited.
guys. Have a great week.
I was excited
Oh,
this morning. I was looking and I was like,
Came
yeah,
back on at the last minute.
we have all discussion items. And I'm like, oh, maybe it'll be like, these last 2 weeks have killed. It's just been so busy. It's going to
Have it next week. So
well.